Hello and welcome to the BracketLife Brand YouTube channel. Today we have the director of the Northern Drag Racing Outlaws, driver of the Coffin, and host of Coffin Talk, Peter Laliberte.
You got it, buddy. Hi, Brandon.
Welcome to the show, bud. I'm glad to have you on.
Thanks. I'm very honored. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun one, I know, from all the notes and everything we've talked about already. I'm excited for all of it. So we'll start off, I guess, introduce yourself a little bit, who you are, how you got into racing. And I want to know how you started driving the Coffin.
Yeah, Peter Laliberte, Liberty Racing. Been doing this for, the whole story about the Coffin, everybody thinks they know, but they don't know, Brandon. So we'll just start it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Picture it, 1955, 56. You had a 20-year-old guy, Leo, who had the hots for this 24, 25-year-old lady who had a child out of wedlock, man. So then she liked my dad liked her, and then the child, my older sister, Diana. So then, but dad was a stock car racer. So mom would come out to the racetrack and watch him do his loop. And back in the day where it was kind of, everything was wide open, he'd have a few beers, and Saturday night, dad with all of his buddies would line up stunt shows. They would do two wheels. They would do going through walls of ice and jumps. And that was just fun. It's kind of, think about it. I like doing that. The shit that I do right now there on the Saturday nights is like doing the stuff that dad did. So dad was in the whole circuit. And he was doing good. He'd won a few races and the championships that they had back then.
Cool.
He had a really bad wreck one, and he barrel rolled, and luckily he wasn't hurt. My mom come up to him after the race, and she says, Leo, she says, in August you're going to be turning 21. You're going to be turning 21, a husband and a father. She goes, I don't want that car out there to be your coffin. So dad says, yeah. So dad knew that he was going to be giving up the racing after the season. So then mom, knowing nothing, she went to the races on a Saturday, and she's seen all the cars come out, and there's my dad comes out with the second car of the year, and he's got the Coffin on the side.
Nice.
And it just started from there. My mom was like, oh my gosh.
That is a good one. You're absolutely right. That was not what I was expecting at all.
No. So then, and he told me all the stories about the fun they had, and he had to give it up, 21 years old.
Yeah.
And becoming a father and everything. And I always said, if I was get a race car, I'm going to name it the Coffin. So, and years later, and I know I've done more in the memories that he told us than he ever did with the real Coffin there. But it goes on. And there was a transition where I thought it was racing for me, or I thought it was racing for my dad because it was the Coffin. You know what I mean? I didn't care what the times I ran. It was like the Coffin was out there, everybody. But it's not that anymore. Now it's more like, now the Coffin's mine, and the trilogy lives on. You know what I mean? So that's all. It's all. Yeah. So we've all started, and then we lived in Long Lake. We used to hearing those stories, and it just fired us up. You're like three boys.
Yeah.
Even the sister, Yvonne, she can drive pretty good too. But I remember 9 years old, sitting in the back seat of my brother-in-law's 70 Roadrunner 4-speed, and he was one of the fastest cars on Long Lake. And it just kind of progressed from there. Bumper tag in Long Lake, wrecking cars, and it just street racing. And we lost a few people drag racing, and it kind of just lost its, it's fun. I was about 22, 21. It just wasn't happening. The police were really rolling into us. Got out of it for a while, then got back into it after, put the kids out to school. And then now it's at the point where my brother Danny, who was one of the car show guys, would have to move his lawn chair every time the sun moved.
Yeah, that's right.
They're like, what are you doing? What kind of car is it? Well, it's a Duster 74. Everybody got for the same. It's a routine. No, officer, I didn't do that. It's the same. He was getting tired of it. And I guess he had a lot of money, because then he just traded it for this 74 Vega tube chassis car, and from John McIntyre down south.
Cool.
And now he started to spend money, bought a trailer, and then now his son Corey, he's just bought a 64 GT Dart, and it's a tube chassis car, and he's getting it stroked, big block. with nitrous. So he's out playing the game there too. So, you know, and Danny and Corey always used to come to the races in Elliott Lakes. That was the one race they went to, the biggest race in the north. Yeah. And he'd always watch me from the sidelines and always, you know, one day. Yeah. You know, one year now they're faster than I am.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now it's
so that's pretty well it, man. And it just started from there. And I just love to be involved in a group. And that's why I started the Northern Street Outlaws, and then it went to Northern Drag Racing. But that's how I started drag racing.
Cool. That's awesome. I love the story. I love the way the Coffin came in. You know, I had no idea, but it's those stories like that they change the way that you look at it, right? And now that I know the meaning of it, like it's just that much better, right? And it's a noticeable car, or a memorable car. I always describe it whenever I have been talking to people about having you on the show. They're like, "Oh, who's that guy?" I'm like, "Well, you remember at like the Bracket Bonanza, you drove down the track and the hood came off and landed on the roof?" Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I know, that was funny.
It all makes sense, right? It's all the Coffin, right? It's the aura of the Coffin. So
the only thing I was worried about was Arnie yelling at me if I lost the hood, but it stayed on, so it was good.
That's right. Absolutely.
You know, don't have to send anybody down the track to clean up any fiberglass.
Exactly. No, that was good, but I'll always remember that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So as we talked about the NDRO a little bit, so it's Grudge Racing Series that you guys run in, you know, more the northern part of Ontario.
Yeah.
So currently you have 5 events on the schedule. So the Thunder Nationals at Kirkland Lake, at the Elliott Lake Drags, the Bracket Bonanza at Luskville, Northern Nationals at Wawa, and then the Vinnie Cup is a tentative date right now at Bonfield. First, we'll start, you know, kind of the Vinnie Cup is your big event for the year.
It is.
Correct. So let's talk so what is the Vinnie Cup, right? Who is Vinnie?
Vinnie, well, like yourself, Vinnie was into bus transportation. The family still is. Always been a guy. I took Vinnie racing one time, and he was racing this pickup truck. And we had a little camper we put in the back of my pickup truck, and I raced his all weekend. He said, "I love it." And he went out and he bought a '77 Bel Air mint, and then put a Big Daddy Rat in it, stroked it, and he was just addicted. That thing was sick fast.
Yeah.
So he just loved it. So then all of his buddies, he just come on into the garage, and Vinnie was always, you know, there's a few people that like. We're at races and we're bumped out early, but we're fast. You know what I mean? And you just couldn't afford to do another round in Super Pro. You know, it's expensive, those.
Absolutely.
And Vinnie would come out and say, "How you doing? You know, and what you doing?" I said, "Well, here you go. There you go. And if you win there, let me know." And then and it doesn't happen that 9 times out of 10, that person that Vinnie always allowed to go back in won the whole thing.
There you go. I mean? That's cool.
You know, and that's just who Vinnie was. I built the Coffin when it first came out in 2010, and Vinnie was part of that. He'd work all day at the bus company, and then he'd sit back and have some whiskey and just, "Vinnie, I need a wash or a lock," and you know what I mean, and call, you know, "Why are you working that piece of shit Dodge?" You know, and just all the time, just ridicule.
Yeah.
So you're like 10 grand into the motor of his Bel Air. So I finally get the Coffin going there, and we ended up being lucky that we lined up, and that's hard to do when you're in Elliott Lake.
Absolutely.
But it was we were late on the draw. It lined up, and Vinnie and I were raced the first time, and it was the first time I went with the Coffin, and he beat me by half a fender. And he's like, "Oh, so proud, you know, the Dodge." And I was like, "Yeah, Vinnie, but your engine's worth 10 grand. That's a junkyard motor, you know." Yeah. But Vinnie had the biggest heart, I could tell you, Brandon. During the Vinnie Cup, there was so much leading up to it. I couldn't even talk about Vinnie. I would just break down in tears.
Absolutely.
You know, he just meant so much to so many people that it's the least I can do is honor someone at this, and which everybody knew him. And if they don't, well, everybody's going to know Vinnie because this thing is going all the time.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. You know, it's very similar to the memorial race we have for my grandfather at the Jim Parker's event we were running at Shannonville. Similar, exactly. You know, where the personality of someone is so large and they have such a great impact on drag racing and all the people around them. So it's awesome to celebrate it, right? And to have that in their memory. and it reminds people, right? When you get too carried away with drag racing and everything, you are just there to have fun, right?
Yeah.
We're there to enjoy it, enjoy the people, and love every second of it. So that's
It's
awesome.
true. It's family. Especially the ones that are out there. I shout out. I know Gary Small is going through a fight of his life right now with his diagnosis, and the least we can do, and it's nice to be able to reach out there and let them know, that even if they can on the internet, that we're out here for you and we're your family, and we're supporting everything, and that's what racing family is all about. That's why Northern Drag Racing has come up from 100 or 350 people. So now we're at 1.7, close to 1.8K, just because I love, and it's funny, we were talking earlier, you and I do the same thing, but it's different medias.
Yeah.
We like to highlight the people that don't get highlighted. I've been to races where I've had one round and gone home, and I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I have to be there. I don't care if I'm running shitty and I never win.
Yeah.
I've won $100 in all these years of racing, both from Arnie. Thanks, Arnie.
There you go.
You know what I mean? But those were the happiest days of my life. You know what I mean? But going out there and just having the family.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When you do all this different work, right? And then you work all week, do all the stuff after work, get your race car together. Friday night, hit the road, get to the racetrack, hang out. You're beat tired, but you're just there, right?
Oh yeah.
And then you spend Saturday and Sunday racing, leave, get home, you're beat tired. You're beat when you go back to work on Monday morning, But what else are you gonna do? Sit at home?
Yeah, exactly.
If we can go to the racetrack, we're going.
Well, a famous thing is it's a good hurt on Monday morning going to work. Oh yeah, I earned that one,
That's right. It's a lot of fun. In time with the racing family, I know you were part of the NDRO group that came down to the Bracket Bonanzas we spoke about. Boosted that semi-pro car count up to nearly 100. I believe it was 93 or 94 entries, which was huge, right? It was awesome support and great how a group of guys, a racing family can come and spread that and then help a track out, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know what I mean? I love the whole thing there with Arnie. Now, Diana was saying this is. I said I was talking to Arnie on the side chat, Messenger, and then Diana looks. She says, "Well, look, you pretty well made it if you're talking to Arnie."
That's right. There you go.
I said, "Woo, baby, look what I have."
Yeah.
But Arnie's Bonanza there, we were received so well. Love them. That whole track. And if you thought last year was big, we're going to draw a lot more out with the whole North versus Quebec grudge racing and all that. Cool. Yeah. Hey, do you want to talk a bit on how that whole grudge racing is going to work?
Absolutely. Get right into it.
Okay. So say we're going up to Luxville, and we're going to be in Luxville in August. I know that Howard Foley, do you know that guy?
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
Howard Foley says that he called me out because he beat me last year. I was like, absolutely. So now that's a locked in race. We're good on it and all this. So now, I know a lot of people know who they want to grudge race, but then a lot of people don't know till the end. Mm-hmm. So then what we're going to do is so then those who show up late at the track or still want to be in the show of grudge racing, we're going to have a little thing on the windshield, grudger, Northern grudge ray, or we'll have some kind of word that'll say, and if you like the car, you talk to the guy and say, hey, do you want a grudge race?
Yeah.
Just to be part of the thing, and then everybody can be involved, from the junior dragsters to the motorbikes to just everybody. The more the merrier.
That's right.
That being said, that's going to draw a lot of people in, because I know Nick there in 613 Outlaws there. He's interested in a lot of those boys that are going to be coming out. But this way it makes it fair for everybody to race. Yeah,
absolutely. It's cool for sure. So do they have to talk to anybody? Will they come talk to you to get set up into it? Yes. So they come find you at the track, message you on Facebook, get contacted, and then be able to set up a race and know when to pull in, when you're going and everything like that. Because I know especially the big events such as the bracket will be huge. You'll need a lot of organization to be able to set up. So everybody can, contact you, find you at the racetrack. You'll be there. I know I think he's going to make a big trip earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Make it down. And then I know you said you're all going to make the long haul right after back to Wawa.
We're going to pull the Ogilvies and the Barkers there. we're just going to just take that whole week off and go from
Yeah.
Luxville right up to Wawa.
Yeah.
Stop in the chip stands and all. I have to, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Just so there's no pressure. Show up early. I have a few friends, Mark Young in Wawa, they can accommodate us, but I'm looking forward to it. I was very well received in Wawa, and that was my first race last year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, everything Arnie touches. It's funny that when we were first having our conversation, how we kind of got off and how Arnie's helped us, you know what I mean? On our side talks and everything. And Neil Armstrong. I remember calling him during the test and tune. I was just like, I had a hard time talking. I was freaking frustrated and whatever it was, just over pressured. And Neil just kind of mellowed me out, you know, then calls back to Diana to make sure, hey, Pete's okay. Yeah, he's off the ledge, you know.
Yeah,
so shout out to Arnie and Neil for being there.
Yeah.
I know I'm the new guy on the block, and they've always received me well. So much respect for them out there. I can't say it enough.
I've known Neil for a long time. We've been going to Hugo forever, right? I grew up going Luxville and Hugo and Grand Bend, everything like that. So I've known Neil for a very long time, and he's awesome. You know, been around it, seen a lot of things, met a lot of people. So that's awesome. He is a good guy. You know, great to have as a contact.
He knows how to prep a track.
That's right. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So back to the NDROs again. So now this will be your first year. You guys are setting up merchandise and going to be selling different products this summer.
Yeah. So pretty well the game plan. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Stickers. The game plan is for all the scheduled races, we're going to be there, and all of our sponsors are going to be highlighted. T-shirts. You know, like everybody has, you have T-shirts, you have hats, decals. I love that stuff. I love seeing all that. But I think this year with NDRO, we're doing a lot more merchandising just to get it out there and just let everybody know this is the fun part of it all. And I think people are going to just embrace it. And I know you're into the big merchandise thing, so we can side talk on the side.
That's right.
You know, I'm not out here to make large money, and that's not what it's all about.
Yeah.
If I break even, I'm happy. You know what I mean? There's nothing more enjoyable than seeing a 5-year-old or 6-year-old kid saying, you know, Northern Drag Racing Outlaws, you know, say, The teacher says, take the T-shirt off, get it out of class.
No, you know? I hear what you're saying, right? And it's all about celebrating it, right? That's the whole thing about Bracket Life when we started it, was to celebrate bracket racing and just racing in general, right? Yeah. Celebrate the little guy, celebrate the big guy, everybody. Give everybody the same platform. So, you know, exactly what you're doing. Right? Yeah. You celebrate the NDRO. When you are a part of it, you want to wear it. You want to advertise it and tell people you are part of it. So I get it for sure. And it's going to be awesome. I'm excited for that. So now we'll move on, I guess, to Coffin Talk, your Facebook Live show that you do Saturday nights. You've started to, you know, pick up some good traction. You've had some, you know, high profile guests, I would say, with some personalities such as, you know, Disco Dean Carnes and Mike Murillo from Street Outlaws.
Oh, yeah.
Also some local racing legends, Fred for one, and Arnie Malcolm has also been on. So let's talk about that. You know, how do you get guys on? Why did you start doing it? What do you talk about for anybody who hasn't seen it before?
I did it because of the COVID. Everybody was just in a bad mood because of COVID.
I get it.
And you know yourself, Brandon, racing doesn't end when the season ends. You know what I mean? You have to keep the momentum going. You know, sometimes it's almost like you're a Facebook whore, but you have to be that all the time just to get it out there. You know, when you get some of these posts, like some people are hitting these car classifieds 50 hits a day. Ooh, that's a lot. You know what I mean? So the whole thing is with the COVID, I just wanted to keep everything rolling, everybody around. They weren't doing anything. You know, at first I had Brant Arnold, who's part of fastest cars of the Dirty South. He was the first one, and I'd been friends with him on Facebook for a little while, and we talked, and you know, he was very approachable, nice guy, Christian guy, you know what I mean? So, you know, he's true to his word. So then we put Mike Murillo. He gives me his phone number, you know, I can just call him up. Hey, Mike, how's it going? You know? Yeah. And that was awesome. An hour and a half. Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Arizona, somewhere in Arizona testing, or in Texas, I think it was.
Cool.
And then that was an hour and a half. And then we had Dean and Lindsay, were just awesome people. And that was a 2-hour thing. It's just, you know what I mean? My little show is big sometimes. Yeah. You don't know unless you know that car that you go by like 12 times a day. It's like, I should unless you stop and ask, hey man, you selling it? You never know.
That's right.
So I'm working on Chief and on in Murder Nova and Lutz. You know, there's new things that are coming down. But my biggest one that I'm really anxious about is Brandon Barker's coming on there, and he's going to be one of our guests with his lady friend Rachel Ogilvy, and they'll be one of my guests coming up probably in March. We just figure out the date. Absolutely,
we're going to set that up. I'm very excited for it. I've seen enough of them that I'm ready to be the next in the hot seat for you.
Yeah. And we kind of side talk. Said I'm like the restricted kind of stuff with the door slammers, and he's like the PG, because you have to. Yeah. But we still do the same thing, but do it in different venues. I respect what you do, Brandon, and I'm excited to see you just take off with your brand and everything, and I'll be right behind you, supporting you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. And I've seen the Coffin Talk stuff. You've done it for longer than I've done the YouTube channels. It was one thing that I saw when I would watch them and see what you're doing. And I'm like, well, look at the following that you get just from doing it, and keep going. Yeah. So that's awesome. You've been an inspiration to me to get started, because you're doing it here. You're doing it in Canada, where not very many people are doing it, and you started on your own and just went for it. So I'm glad that we got to do this together now and bring both brands together and grow each other's brand for sure. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I really appreciate that, and all the support that you have given.
No. Well, if anything, I think this is the time of the world right now, and they're calling it a reset. But things that we really hold close to our hearts, our racing, our work, and our family. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or you got to have a hobby, you're going to lose it. Your work and family. You know what I mean? And that hobby is it's growing to what it is. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of what it is coming in the north.
Yeah, I love it too. I love going there. I love, I think it's been 3 years now. This will be my 4th year going north, Tally Lake and Wawa. And I love the people there, love going and meeting everybody. It's a different atmosphere than what it is, just at Louisville, because there's so many people that don't get to see it every day. You go down there and you feel like John Force almost, right?
It's true.
So it's really cool. I love going there, love all the people.
I got to tell you this one story about Elliot Lake. First time I raced, it was a piece of crap Ford Ranger 305. Timing chain was so bad on it, we had to adjust it just before we went up to the line, tighten it up, and then come back, it was all out of whack. And I remember coming back with the window down. I felt like, right on, everybody's booing, boo, boo, go home. I'm like, that's not nice of him to say to the guy in front of me, So I get back to the pit, and my buddy says, yeah, man, everybody. I said, who was booing? He goes, yeah. I said, well, who? He goes, well, everybody this side. I was like, really, man? But, that's the story that I've always hold right here, because I got quicker at the end of they weren't booing anymore. But it's just a story. I don't know why I spoke about, but it's just at Elliot Lake, and it just warms my heart. You don't have to be the top-notch racer and have all this stuff that we're building, and that's out there. Start small. You know what I mean? Everybody are big winners. Look at, we had a street, Jillian Gamsel, who was a winner in the street class with a PT Cruiser.
She
never raced ever, and she won the street class. Thank you very much. That's what I love. I love the new people that are the young kids that are jumping over from junior dragsters to cars, and their dads are letting them drive their cars for the first time. And their first time, and they come and their eyes are like this. And I'm in Bonfield. I said, this is your first race? She goes, yeah. I said, I'll tell you one thing very important. You got to have fun. Yeah. So when you get the starter guy coming up and say, hey, man, I feel there's this one kid, I think Gosselin. First time running the junior dragster, was always a dirt bike. So I went up there and did in the speech. He, have fun. Arm dropped him. He leaves, arm drops me. He's got his thumb up as he leaves. It's like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be. But
that's right.
Man, racing family is everything. It's in my blood, and it's in yours, and it just takes up so much, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely. I agree with you 110%. I've seen all the different stuff. I know Jillian met her at a couple of the North races before. She's been to Shannonville. So it's awesome to see people, get into it, want to get into it, learn, and then have success, right?
Yes.
It's really cool. So you brought up Bonfield a little bit again there. Will we see any more racing at Bonfield coming up, in the future?
Well, I know that tentatively I haven't spoken to, but the Vinnie Cup, I'm pretty sure it'll be going on. It's later in the year. It's not at the beginning, so there's still time to figure out the exact dates. But as for my involvement, like I was last year, NDRO went in there and we said we're going to help you guys clean the track. And our crew went in there. We got everything ready. I promised them 2 races. We were like delayed on the first, but we had record amounts during the COVID for our test and tune. And then the Vinnie Cup was another large thing. But right now, all I could say that I haven't heard anything from Bonfield. So in all assumption in your, in your way of thinking too, is just if it's nothing planned right now, nothing can happen. I mean, we're so tight now with the schedules for the races. So the only thing, in the short thing, the only thing I can think of in Bonfield would be probably they'd have me some test and tune weekends. But for that, I'm not involved or anything of that. My plate is kind of full. But I'm assuming Bonfield is going to be up, and it's going to be an awesome place to do some testing and tuning for the big bracket races. That's just what I'm assuming. I know I'm getting a lot of messages and that on side chat. And I know that Can-Am stock, super stock were interested. Dave Turner and I was messaging some stuff, but for that aspect for Bonfield, I can just assume it's just going to be a few tests and tune weekends, whatever the growth decides.
Yeah, too bad, right? Because it could hopefully one day it could become something.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's still there. The potential of the at Bonfield is still there. There is a lot of interest in it. It's just that a plan. You just have to get a plan going.
Absolutely right.
And then, everything like Arnie, we have to know, like the schedule went up so people can book off. Yeah. I'm working here, but I take this schedule time off a holiday here. And you have to early because everybody's life is so busy nowadays.
Oh, yeah. And I've got my schedule, pretty well picked out for the year at this point, right? I know where I'm going. Change a little bit if the border was to open. Right now, I don't believe it will, but if it did, that would change my schedule. Other than that, I pretty well know where I'm going every weekend and what's happening. So you're absolutely right. It is, you're slowly getting behind the 8 ball now, and then it's going to be too late because then people won't be able to get off work, or there'll be another race set up somewhere else that they already all plan on going to.
Yeah, I want to see it strive. I want to see it get big, but it's just there's a way to do it. It's just a plan, I think, and it's just they're going to get there, but it's just not this year, I don't think, but they're going to get there.
Yep, absolutely, which is good. So one more question for you. So we touched on a little bit, with your advice about just having fun. But what advice would you give somebody else getting into drag racing and trying to get, whether they're going to Bonfield for test and tune, or they're, they want to come down to the Bracket Bonanza with you, or they're going to the NDRO stuff for a grudge race? What advice would you give somebody getting into it?
First time out of the bat, it was funny. I met Robin Canton in Kirkland Lake, and he didn't know who he was. Pulls up this huge motorhome, Mustang, and this thing was nice, and didn't know who he was. The hole in the ground. Made sure he was able to get parked. You know what I mean? There's nothing worse than seeing someone with a big motorhome and that not being able to get parked. So we come there. He does this thing over the weekend. We're casually talking. So then he shows up in Bonfield. And this is a standard, I think it is too. And he was out there and just laid it down there, first time racer. So then he sent something nice saying, if you go to the front of Northern Drag Racing and you're going to see, first of all, if you act stupid, I will kick you off this. And ... And the second one was, we want, and all those who want to belong to a group to come on. We all want to be a group. And for those racers that have never raced before, those are the ones that we want. No question is stupid because we've all started there. So Robin Canton makes a note saying, you know what, that page, what it promises is the exact thing. And I want people to understand that. So if you're new, Peter, I want to start drag racing. What do you want to buy and all this? If I don't know, I'll let someone else know. Listen, this kid wants to know. Because you know what, those ones, and look at Robin Canton, now he's getting a bigger clutch, and now he's bringing another car with him into the race team. It's just because everybody is on the same page. You know what I mean? No one judges here. You know what I mean? Except I judge my brother Danny because
that's how it goes, right? I get it.
But I'll take more time out for the new guy than the old guy that's like been there only kind of contemplating his time and whatever. It's like, no, let me go over here. Don't ever be shy. You know what I mean? Involve a group. you can't do it alone because you're just going to bang your head in the wall. I can see I have good intentions, strip the car, take everything out, and it's like, now what?
Now where do we go, right?
The motor and all that. But you know what I mean? The more people here at our NDRO and just anywhere, you call, hey, message Brandon. He's on Facebook, and we're all here to help. And that's a one sport. I always find I can leave my tools out, my generators. It's like I'd never get it stolen or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back in the day it was rough, but now everybody has so much respect for everybody's stuff.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It all goes back to the racing family and how we treat each other. So everybody's equal, right? You pull in, your rig's worth 200 grand, or you limped your truck in with an open trailer in the race car, but you're still there to go racing, right? Everybody's on the same page. So absolutely, that's great. I know you had a sheet. You wanted to shout out some sponsors here before.
Absolutely.
Let's let you loose on that one.
It's funny, when I first started drag racing, I was getting all these sponsors that would sponsor the Coffin, you know, and I don't ask much. You know what I mean? I love showing off my sponsors. You know what I mean? I just love advertising them all over the place. So I started NDRO, you know, when we have it, Vinnie Cup, the biggest burnout, you know, the newest team, you know, just you, and an award you get it, you don't even know why. You know, there's one girl got on a little dirt bike and she was a little bit upset, you know, but still she waited there, the bike started, and I let her run. That was the greatest day. She got it just because that lady touched my heart, you know, the young kid. So, and I have all the sponsors that have followed me in Coffin Talk and Coffin. So now they're sponsoring the NDRO. So first of all, I have the TNT Pawn Shop, who've been with me since 2016, I think. Awesome place, Terry there. Frank's Transmission, Lee Valley Motorsports, Gilles Brisbois, and then Sudbury. Pass it on undercoating, Wade Hine, the guy who twists and does all the brakes there. Nichols Nixon Automobile on the Coffin. And Veterans Transportation, they're Vinnie's bus company, still sponsors his own cup. Vinnie only knew, eh? His money was going there. And Richard Manti there, he's a new guy that just jumped on board with NDRO with his racing oils. He showed some interest last year, and it was kind of busy last year, and I wasn't really too organized. But he's the schedules he likes. He's going to come up and represent Maxima Oils this year at all of our NDRO races. So I'm kind of pumped having him on board. I know he's well known in the racing.
Awesome.
Those are my crew, and I love it. And we're going to be looking for new sponsors. So, you know, and like for this year, we're going to have all the sponsors on our T-shirts, so there's going to be well represented.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to get involved with the NDRO and do sponsorship, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Just PM me there. Either contact me through the NDRO page or my personal or Liberty Racing. I guess so many of them. Drunken Rooster Promotions.
There you go. Yeah.
You got to get out there.
Absolutely. So that's awesome. Well, Peter, thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it. We've had a lot of fun. You know, love talking to you. We've done all this and learned a lot too. Right. So
yeah, absolutely. I like you, man. I like you, Brandon. We're going to be hanging out now. I might come over in my golf cart and hang with you at the races.
There you go. Yeah, you know where I'll be.
Yeah, in March, Brandon's going to be on my show, the Coffin. That's right. The R-rated one.
Yeah, we're going to flip it around and then do. I'll be on Coffin. But all right.
Absolutely.
But we'll be talking to you. Thanks a lot for this, and I appreciate your time, buddy.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for reaching out. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye.